Most people spend their whole lives working for money, but nobody tells them that money has three turning points, and once you hit them, everything changes, because that's the moment when your money starts working for you. In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 net worth milestones that completely shift the direction of your financial life. These aren't theories. These are real turning points anyone can reach no matter where you're starting from. And if you're serious about growing your wealth and building a different future, make sure you subscribe, drop a like, and leave a comment. It really helps the channel grow. Now, let's break down the first milestone that begins everything.
Trigger 1. The saving to investing flip. The first trigger, and maybe the most important one, is what I call the saving to investing flip. It's the exact moment when your mindset stops seeing money as something you store and starts seeing it as something you grow. Most people never experience this flip, and that's why their money stays frozen for years. They save, they wait, they hope, but nothing changes, because saving alone doesn't create wealth. Saving protects you, yes, but it never multiplies anything. Real transformation begins the day you realize that every dollar sitting still is a dollar losing potential. Every cent you leave untouched is silently decaying because of inflation, quietly shrinking when it could have been building your future. The saving to investing flip is the moment you understand that money has only 2 states. Either it's working or it's dying. And the truth is brutal. Most people keep their money in the dying state without even knowing it. They save because they're afraid. They save because nobody ever taught them that wealth doesn't come from holding money. It comes from using money. When this flip happens, everything inside you shifts. You stop asking, how much can I save this month? And you start asking, where can I place my money so it grows next month, and the month after that, and the month after that? This trigger doesn't require you to be rich. You don't need thousands. It starts with a mindset, not an amount. Maybe it's your first $50 invested into a low-cost index fund. Maybe it's your first $20 put into a fractional share. Or maybe it's money you spent building a skill that will give you returns for the next 10 years. Whatever the form, the moment you move from storing money to growing money, you unlock a level of freedom most people never reach. And the crazy part is, once this flip happens, you can't go back. Your brain starts seeing opportunities everywhere, in the market, in business, in your skills, in your habits. You start understanding that money isn't the goal. Growth is the goal. And the more you grow, the more your net worth becomes a living thing, something that expands, compounds, and builds on itself. This is the first trigger of wealth. This is where the journey begins. And once you cross it, you'll never look at money the same way again.
Trigger number 2 is what I call the asset acquisition habit. It's not about investing once or trying your luck in the market or making a single financial move. It's about building a permanent habit, a rhythm, where you consistently add assets to your life, no matter how small. Because the truth is simple. Wealthy people don't just own assets, they collect them. It becomes part of who they are. While most people collect expenses, subscriptions, new clothes, nights out, random upgrades, wealth builders collect assets. And here's the part nobody notices. You don't get rich from one big investment. You get rich from a long chain of small, boring, consistent moves. A share here, a book that builds your skill there, a course that opens your next opportunity, a small position in the market, your first digital product, your first rental unit, your first dividend. Piece by piece, decision by decision, your life slowly fills with engines that generate money. The asset acquisition habit means one thing. Every month, without excuses, without skipping, you add something to your portfolio that makes you stronger. Sometimes the asset you acquire is financial. Sometimes it's intellectual. Sometimes it's a new network, a new skill, a new income stream, a new partnership. But it always moves you forward. It always expands your capacity. It always compounds. Most people don't build this habit because they think they need a huge amount of money to start. But that's the biggest lie in financial education. You don't need more money. You need more frequency. Small amounts done consistently beat large amounts done once. Because consistency creates momentum, and momentum creates compounding, and compounding creates freedom. Once this trigger activates inside you, something powerful happens. You stop seeing money as something you spend, and you start seeing it as something you plant. Every decision becomes a seed. Every investment becomes a tree. Every habit becomes a forest. People will look at you and think you changed overnight, but you'll know the truth. You changed the day you committed to acquiring assets instead of acquiring liabilities. You changed the day you decided that every month, even if it's just a few dollars, you will add something to your future. And when you look back after 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, you'll realize something magical. You didn't just build assets. You built leverage. You built a silent army of small financial machines working 24/7 with no breaks, no complaints, no holidays. And that's the moment when life starts shifting in your favor. That's the moment when the future becomes lighter and your path becomes clearer.
Trigger 3 is the compounding loop. This is the one that separates people who get a little money from people who build true, unstoppable wealth. It's what I call the compounding loop, the moment your money starts feeding itself, growing itself, and accelerating itself without needing your time or effort. Most people hear the word compounding and think it's just about interest rates or stock returns, but compounding is much bigger than that. Compounding is a behavior, not a number, a pattern, not a percentage, a philosophy, not a formula. Compounding begins the day you make one powerful decision. Every gain you make goes straight back into the system. No celebration, no spending spike, no treating yourself because you earned it. Every dollar you grow becomes the seed for the next dollar, and that next dollar becomes the seed for 10 more. It's a loop, a continuous cycle, and once you stay in it long enough, the curve stops being slow and suddenly becomes explosive. But here's the secret most people never see. The compounding loop isn't exciting in the beginning. It looks boring. It looks small. It looks like nothing is happening. That's why most people quit right before it takes off. You invest $10 and it becomes $10.20. You invest $100 and it becomes $102. It feels pointless, slow, invisible. But compounding is not about the first year. It's about the 10th year. It's about the moment the curve stops being a straight line and becomes a rocket. When this trigger activates in your life, everything changes inside you. You finally understand that the biggest mistake people make is breaking the loop, spending their returns, resetting their momentum, starting from zero again and again. But the wealthy, they don't break the loop. They protect it. They feed it. They build their life around it. Every paycheck, a piece goes back into the loop. Every profit, straight back into the loop. Every skill learned reinforces the loop. Every new opportunity adds power to the loop. And one day, almost without warning, you wake up and realize your net worth is no longer growing because of your effort. It's growing because of your system, your strategy, your patience, your discipline, your consistency. That's when money transforms from something you chase into something that chases you. And that moment is when wealth stops being a dream and becomes a self-sustaining reality.
If you've made it this far, remember this. Wealth is not built in a single moment, but in a series of quiet decisions that nobody sees. The day you flip from saving to investing, the day you start collecting assets instead of collecting liabilities, and the day you commit to feeding the compounding loop, that's the day your life takes a new direction. Not instantly, not magically, but inevitably. Because wealth is not speed, it's momentum. Not luck, but repetition. Not a miracle, but a system you build with your own hands. So if this video opened your eyes or helped you think differently, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Your support helps the channel grow, and it tells the algorithm that this type of content matters. And remember one last thing. You don't need to be rich to start, but you do need to start to ever become rich. Your future begins the moment you take your first step. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.